Well, anyway, so yeah, so they tried to get my dog to barf, and she just wasn't having it. So they gave her this stuff for basically like anti-nausea to keep a pill down, right? Um, and they gave me some pills to control the shakes and stuff like that. But they said that she'd be weak for a couple of days.
Okay. Did you
But
have to give her an antifungal, or was that the pill that she had to keep down?
well, it's just got to pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Well, because the other thing, this was we're talking about pricey pets here, right? So I got out of there spending about like 330, right? Which
Oh, that's not bad.
no,
Yeah,
no,
that's not bad at all.
no, and I've got pet insurance anyway, so it's
Oh, I was going to look into that. So you mentioned that before.
it's not a bad deal.
Okay.
Because I guess so the plan I have because I originally got it when I got her from the Humane Society, right? And what happened was the company changed hands, and it carried over. That's not a problem. And then at one point, my credit card expired, or my debit card expired. So they canceled the policy because I just didn't update it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I went shopping for new stuff, and so with her, I just set up a plan where, all right, so I'll cover a deductible for $1,000, right? Everything above that is at 80%.
Oh, nice. And so do you pay a premium every month on top of that?
Yeah,
Yeah, how much is the premium, if you don't mind me asking?
55.
That's okay. That's a good deal.
It's not bad,
That's a good
and
deal.
you can
You could wipe yeah, a $600 bill would wipe that out. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying, man. Is
yeah, that's pretty good, man.
my big thing is if they come to me and say like, hey, like she needs a $10,000 surgery, that's fine.
But they don't cover things just like teeth cleaning and stuff like that.
You can do that.
Oh,
So the thing is, you have the things where you can set up like it has sliders. I went through Spot, right, and it has sliders.
Spot is the name of the company.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and so you just move the sliders to what you want to pay and what you want your deductible ultimately, like what percentage covered, that kind of stuff. So I got her in this position where like, hey, if something small happens, hey, no worries, I'll take care of that out of my pocket, and that'll cover the deductible anyway.
Right.
Right. If something big happens, then yeah, it's like, fuck it, it's like, if she swallows a cue ball or something sometime, like, hey, she needs surgery, it's $15,000, like, go nuts,
Go nuts.
go
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
I got it.
This just lost the cue ball. This is not going to pass.
That's based on a true story.
I know, I know.
Yeah. But
Anyway, I'm Pat.
hey, I'm Jeffrey.
We're talking about pet insurance.
Yeah, dude,
This is not a paid ad.
Well, 'cause this was the other thing too. Was so I got out with like 350. Then they bring me like two estimates. They're like, well, we want to run the charcoal on her, to do this, or she can just take this medication. I was like, well, she doesn't seem to like it here. She's like, nothing against you guys. It's just she hates the hospital. You know something or two about that.
Oh, I got one cat. She's horrible.
Yeah. So they give me two options. Like, okay, so it's going to be 1,200 or 1,800 because it was the difference between like they wanted to keep her for like 6 hours or like 18 hours. I was like, guys, I live
right over here.
like I'm 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Right. I promised to bring it back in. It says like you guys don't seem to I asked her. I was like, look, you see anything that's emblematic of like liver or organ failure?
Yeah.
Any bite marks? Anything? It's like no. This looks like this. It would be rare for it to be anything else like that. So I'm like,
Okay.
tell you what, I'll pay the $330. You can take that $1,800 bill and shove it up your ass, and we'll go about our way.
I'll take the pills, please.
Yeah. So when I got back yesterday, I was wiped out and she was wiped out, and I'm like, dog, why don't we just like rest up? And,
Call it a night. Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to sleep, dog. You've been through a lot. So
No, totally understand.
because I was having to do that thing where I had to like pick her up and carry her and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I hate doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's been my day today.
Pet trouble?
No, just sleepy. So
Oh, all right.
I just got up for an hour and a half nap, and I almost never take a nap, Jeff.
What do you have against naps?
Nothing. I just can't do it. So for some odd reason.
Well, do you take my kind of naps or do you take my brother's kind of naps?
I cannot do what your brother does.
That is insane.
That is, I can't.
Yeah.
The idea of sleeping for 10 minutes is just anything less than like 2 hours is basically a waste of my time.
Right.
So because it's going to take me, if I have a timestamp on like, okay, you have to get up like at this time, and if that time is less than 8 hours from now, then
it starts stressing you out.
It does start stressing me out, man. It's getting worse as I get older too, man. So I had to get up early this morning and do some administrative bullshit with the job, and it's fine. It was no big deal, but it was they had to have the meeting at 8:30 this morning. I was like, fuck. So
in person?
No, thank God. Yeah. So, but it was back-to-back meetings for a couple hours there, and then I was like, all right, I got about 2 hours here before I can go. I have to go and help my mom with a bunch of shit. And so I tried to sleep. I tried to sleep, man, and it just didn't happen. And so when I got done with all that stuff that I had to do this afternoon, I got back by about 5:30. And I just crashed out, man.
Yeah.
So, and now, like, I'm feeling it. As soon as we're done with this, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. It's not like a full-on reinvigoration. It's not. And I can't do Williams fucking Leonardo da Vinci bullshit where it's like I put the coins in my hand and if I start to fall asleep, the coins fall out.
Oh yeah, no. I can't do that. But your brother's an odd specimen, so
incredibly odd specimen.
When it comes to sleep, for sure.
No, there's summed up with him. His fusion drive is just it's better. Like I'm still running like diesel. Like this is.
I think mine's powered by water.
I don't know. It could be like if you check my internal like power source. Yeah, I think it's like those 15 kids at the beginning of Conan that are like pushing the wheel around.
That's kind of it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids don't get bigger either. We just replace them.
If you recall the movie, kids keep disappearing over time until it's just Conan.
Yes. Didn't we came to that conclusion a long time ago. So, or was that an MST3K line? I can't remember.
No, I think that was us because a lot of that had to do with like, where does one find a high protein diet like that in?
Right, yeah.
It's
could be very high in fat.
Right.
Yeah, content here.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. So yeah, if I'm with you, man, if I'm gonna take a nap, I better mean it. And this is one of those. Don't disturb me. This is practically a religious experience.
Yeah.
But I also can't force a nap. I can't.
I almost never take them, man. So, and I've gotten to the attitude now where, like, even at night, if it's like, just starting to feel a little bit of the shades of sleep coming on, I just go to bed. So I'm like, wow, I'm gonna fall asleep in like 10 minutes tonight. I better get while the getting's good.
There's that, but also, I mean, what with the bizarre schedules that I've been working over, the past decade.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just take it as it doesn't matter if it's 9 o'clock at night or 2 in the afternoon. If it's sleepy time,
it's sleepy time.
I'm just gonna go to bed.
Yep.
And I learned that from her. She's a smart dog. It's a good time to take a rest.
Yep, get a sleep in. Huh?
Yeah. That and the other thing was the rig was just. Will and I know this is like you never know when you got like a 28-hour day because of like emergency shit. So if the opportunity comes up to sleep,
you do it
on your shift. You do it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, those emergencies maybe happen like twice, 3 times. But
when I worked for the railroad, it was guaranteed to happen like once a month. You were going to punch in about a 30-hour day. So. Yeah, usually because some bullshit went down.
Well, there's no other reason for it.
No, but it was the bullshit was various. So it could be a derailment, it could be an accident, it could be bad traffic, it could be snow. So there was a lot of different things.
I saw this video of a train that had like a plow in front of it and was just demolishing train high snow.
Oh yeah.
Is it just impossible to stop one of those things, or what?
Snow's not that heavy, man. So I mean, it seems like it when you're brushing off your car, but like a train is a fucking heavy moving thing. So, yeah. So I mean, I think like our heaviest trains, like they weighed as much as like ocean going ships. So moving at 60 miles an hour, yeah. So yeah, no, it's not gonna stop. I mean, snow. The reason why snow would fuck things up is not because it'd pile up on the rails and stuff like that. It's just like we couldn't get vans out to the trains to get crew on.
Okay. It's the human element.
It was definitely the human element. All right. I mean, we had in my yard we had a thing called a jull plow. So and
forgive me.
It's called a jull plow, Jull.
Okay.
And it's basically this giant fucking snowplow that you put in front of a locomotive.
That I think that's what I saw the video of, because it was demolishing.
So you probably saw a rotary. We did not have one of those. This is one that looks like a giant fucking snowblower.
That was not it.
Okay, no, it might be it then.
Yeah, it was just a shaped plow where just the
it's like momentum, as tall as the locomotive.
Yeah,
that's exactly what that is.
The momentum and the shape of that thing. I was just like, now again, this is me from the stance like you and I talked about of being like a big fat pussy and going out there and shoveling the thing. It's like I have to take breaks when I do this now.
Yeah. When does my back hurt? It's always in the same spot. Just like when I break leaves.
Yep, that was that admission. But yeah, that was. So I'm thinking of the poundage that way without thinking about how much momentum is being.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like two locomotives coupled together weigh more than a 747. So yeah,
it's hard to picture. It really is.
They're made to be heavy, man. That's how you get traction. So I mean, they over-engineer it. So it's just basically a big chunk of steel with a 28-cylinder diesel engine in it. So
suddenly it seems way less complicated.
It is way less. Yeah. There's no steering wheel. It has two functions: go and not.
Yeah. It can't be as simple as it sounds.
It kind of is. So yeah, it kind of is. You can learn how to run a locomotive in about 5 fucking minutes. So it takes a while to get good at running a train without breaking it into a million pieces. So
there you go.
You know, just a locomotive is there's basically a lever. You know, I mean, there's like two of them, but you know, it's okay. One of them is like this one makes it go, and this one says how fast. So yeah,
all right,
yeah, and the red one is the brake. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I got you. I feel like there's probably like 30 years worth of nuance in there somewhere where it's like. Okay, well, you'll never see this, but this guy has seen it.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff to learn, but you know, it was like actually like just learning the basics. Yeah, 5 minutes. Driving a car is way more complicated.
You know, it's funny that you say that. It's actually when you think about it, it's the sheer number of road variables that people go through a day. They don't give it enough credit for.
No, I tell my students that all the time. They show up to, you know, math class and they're freaked out about it. And I'm like, how many of you drove a car here today? This is just about everybody. And said, did you kill anybody? I'm like, no. And I was like, okay, so you understand, you know, advanced mathematic concepts like force, gravity, mass, acceleration, you know, momentum. So it's like, that's all way more complicated than anything we're going to do here. So you just do it every day. So, you know, I know you're practiced at it. So.
And then you get into the weird things where it's like, you know that you are moving at the same speed of your car.
Correct.
In your car.
In your car.
So why is it so problematic for you to just grab a handful of change and throw it out the window? You know, it's
yeah.
You go to jail for that.
I remember as kids, there was one flight that we took that was at like 2:00 in the morning, and like we were the only people on this plane, and so my brother and I got it on our head. Yeah, it was like way. It was supposed to be like a plane that came in, like at, you know, like hours and hours before, but it was just delayed.
Oh,
And so
okay,
they
yeah.
had re-protected everybody, but we were flying standby.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
but they had
yeah.
to get the plane there. And so, you know, it's like, all right, well, we're stuck here until we go. And so we're flying. I think it was into here, actually. You know,
Oh,
it might have been into Denver. I don't remember. So, but it was like fucking butthole dark 30, you know. So when we're flying on this plane, and my brother and I are like jazzed, so because we slept in the airport, you know, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my
Yeah.
parents are knocked out, and my brother and I, and like the flight attendants are all sitting in the crash seats, you know, not even paying attention to
Yeah.
us, you know, kind of thing. And so my brother and I, we get to arguing about whether or not, you know, like if you jump, so at in an aisle of an aircraft while it's moving at speed, if you landed like 2 or 3 seats further down.
No.
No, you don't, man.
No.
But we were both trying so hard. 'Cause
Nope.
we thought we had figured
No.
out the math.
No,
Totally doesn't work that
no,
way.
No. It's the same.
So-
It's the same hypothetical as the one where if you're driving a car at the speed of light and you turn on the headlights, what
Right.
happens?
Nothing.
Well, it's not nothing.
Well, the headlights come on, but
The headlights come on.
they don't illuminate anything in front of you, though, do they?
They do.
No, I didn't know that.
Yep.
So
Because
physics is not my thing.
whatever the speed is
So-
that you're traveling, right? You take that speed and then you take whatever the speed that the light is traveling and you go ahead and add that.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's the speed of light, right?
Well, what if it's not possible to actually break the speed of light? I
Well,
thought that was the argument there.
no, it's not the argument. This is where the hypothetical comes in because yes, you in order to be in that case, right? Remember, because in order to have any object to approach the speed of light, you have to have infinite energy,
Right.
right? In order to move that, which is going to have some kind of mass. The difference with light, of course, is that it has no mass. It's basically it's just a particle.
Yeah.
And a wave, and,
And a
all
wave.
sorts of tricky things that make people still struggle to this day. Speaking of struggling, I looked at your Frankenstein scars. Have you been trying the
My Frankenstein scars?
on your arm?
Oh.
Have you been trying the supinated twist?
Oh, Lord, no.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, supination's fine, man. I mean, look, it's
Oh no,
it's
no,
fine.
but for rebuilding the bicep.
No.
Oh, okay.
So not for a while. So I still like when I use it normally.
Yeah.
What's up? Oh.
Nothing.
When I use it normally, man, I know when I've stressed out. So and it's usually about 1 milk jug. So
I know. You were talking about it the other day, so I figured I'd give you a little reminder.
I do have my little 2.5 pound weights though. So
All right, try twisting it.
yeah. I don't really. It's pretty much repaired. So yeah, not quite the same. So and then it's like this divot here, man. It's just I think that's permanent now. So I don't know. That's just how it healed up, and this is all scar tissue right here. So you know.
I don't know. I guess that depends. So like, I take it that would be this muscle right here.
I don't know. I don't have it on this one. So
Well, no, you didn't injure that one.
Right,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
it's just where the actual tear and the repair took place.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, it's there. It's permanent. So we'll see.
well, you don't know, but I mean, when you're
I don't
ready,
know
we'll
either.
start.
Yeah.
We'll start lifting.
I think I'm just gonna row for a while. So I haven't been putting any weight on though. So I'm not too worried about it.
Isn't that awesome?
It is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty nice. I think I kind of peaked out. So, and I've got to the point in time where I just don't eat that much garbage like I used to. So,
You just don't eat.
I don't need it as much as I used to, man. So, like, it's pretty rare when I just sit there and like eat until I'm full. So,
I guess I started adopting a new philosophy about 2 months ago,
mhm.
right? Where, of course, I've done things to extremes, and I know that there are times when you want to be, a little bit more high protein. But I was also like, all right, so, how about this, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut things off when I know I wouldn't want to take a walk after after this.
Yeah, okay.
And if I feel like I'm getting that point, you have to stop because if you basically eat too much to want to move, your body can't handle it.
No, that's not good, man.
No.
Yeah, no. No. That's not good. That's like being hungover. So, it's like, that was way too much beer, you dumbass.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's the sort of thing that you're asking your liver to do a lot of, heavy lifting for you, all at once. Speaking of which, I watched a little a video about Morgan Spurlock.
Really?
Yeah.
The fucking Supersize Me guy?
Yes, about how the results of Supersize Me could not be duplicated.
He tried.
Well, it wasn't just him. It was several, at least one university where they could not duplicate the results, especially the liver damage. And there was something that they pointed to in the documentary that was problematic, right? Where and I watched this, and I was convinced at the time. There's a doc that says, like, I've never seen liver damage done by a fast food diet like this. It's like with alcohol, yes, but not like this, right?
Yeah, I remember that guy. He was like, "Yeah, you better stop." And the movie kind of ended with a whimper.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. Now
God, I haven't seen that in ages.
Well, yeah,
I remember it was hot shit. So
it was.
Whenever it came out, like 2008, whatever.
Well, and it turns out this was the thing was this is I didn't know this happened to him. I guess this is something that he Morgan Spurlock got Me Too'd about 5 years ago.
On what?
What you get Me Too'd for.
Oh, okay.
Right. And
I forgot that was a thing.
Right.
We found so many things to Me Too people over
I know,
I didn't know which one you were talking about. So
the original Me Too.
Okay, the original one. So he didn't yell at a black cab driver, huh?
No. And what he said, this was where they said, all right, this is where the whole thing falls apart, is he did a preemptive Me Tooing. So basically he knew something was going to come out, so he copped to it ahead of time, right?
That never really works, man, but sure. So
I don't know. It's a strategy that, in theory, you call that getting ahead of something. I
didn't
don't
work
know.
for Danny Masterson, that's for sure. So
no, he's going to jail.
He is in jail.
Yeah, I mean for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what he said was I've been an alcoholic for like the past 17 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And this is the thing was, so the symptoms that he had via, eating McDonald's, right, are all things that are in line with someone who has been an alcoholic and is going through withdrawal symptoms for...
Sure, yeah.
So they're like, no, your liver damage, right, that's alcohol.
Yeah.
And when they were talking about the things, because I remember this was the part that was getting to me, was when he was like, I feel depressed, I feel, all this other stuff.
I'm going to have a beer.
Yeah. And he was just trashed the whole time, or, getting over it. And it's funny now to look at this and look at the things that have happened because of that documentary, all predicated on bullshit.
What happened because of that documentary?
Well, remember, the whole thing was attacking the supersized menu.
Yeah, but you can still get that. So, I got one today, Jeff. So
the supersize. It says supersize
large size. Yeah.
Well, yes, they have a large. The supersize was like this fucking big.
It's pretty much that big right now. I don't know. I can't do the weights on it, but they just called it something different. But you can get a fuckload of soda and fries if you still want.
Yeah, they have a big one still, but that was the.
Yeah. See, like I remember the coffee one probably had more of a splash than that. So in terms of like pointing out some of the problems with, well, I mean that one was kind of all over the place too because it was going in like 5 different directions. So that was a condemnation of our litigious society.
It was. That was the bigger thing.
Yeah, it wasn't really the fast food thing. I remember Morgan Spurlock, and I remember like Yeah, but like he kind of made his own case in it too, because he had the one guy who ate nothing but Big Macs for like 35 years, and he was skinny as a rail.
But that didn't show up until like 10 years later.
Well, it was in the movie, wasn't it?
Mm-mm.
Well,
that was an independent story from something else like 10 years later.
It was in that movie. That guy was in that movie.
That like 65-year-old guy?
Yeah, that guy was in Super Size Me. He was. Yeah, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was. Because his whole trick was not to eat the fries, and so you don't get the trans fats. Okay, so that
but
one
he wasn't talking about trans fats in that movie.
Was he?
No.
What was he talking about?
He was talking about McDonald's. The whole thing was the whole concept of the movie was, all right, so I have to eat one thing. Basically, I have to try everything on the menu.
Yeah, I have to eat one thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well, no. So basically, whatever is on their menu at the end of this 30-day period, right? I have to have had everything on the menu, right? I have to go there 3 times a day,
right?
Right, and if I'm asked to supersize something, I have to do it.
Okay, see, I didn't remember that part. So I guess that makes sense. It's the title of the movie. Bluntly, it's been it's been ages since I've seen
the movie's 20-something years old.
Is it that old?
Yes, that's why I'm saying that old guy. He made the news like 10 years ago.
I'm pretty sure that guy was actually in that movie.
He wouldn't have been 65 at the time.
He wasn't. So he was just a guy who had been eating at McDonald's every day since like
1950.
Something like that. It was like since he was 12.
Yeah.
And his daddy took him to have a Big Mac.
Yeah.
And so that's all he would eat is a Big Mac and a Coke. I think it was a Diet Coke, actually.
That's what I'm saying. That's nothing. That's not even... Like, if you look at the grand scheme of your diet, that's nothing on the day.
Oh, no. So...
If you stop with that.
Sure, yeah.
And this, of course, eliminates the possibility of look, man, I have talked to so many foreigners, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 restaurants that foreigners love because it is not like it is here. They love McDonald's overseas.
Yeah, like KFC.
They love KFC
yeah,
overseas.
they love KFC. Yeah. Yeah.
Love KFC. It may as well be like a fork and knife in the place's dim kind of eating experience.
It depends on where you're from. So, like, I've had a lot of European students. They hate McDonald's. So... They love Chick-fil-A. So as soon as they discover what
Fair
that
enough.
thing is,
Yeah,
they love Chick-fil-A. Yeah. They like the Taco Bell. So and then but anybody who comes from India or Asia or Africa, they fucking love KFC.
Their KFC.
Yeah,
you like this one?
As soon as they discover Chick-fil-A, no.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then, I always ask my international students, what are you going to miss about America? That's usually pretty high on the list.
It's going to be on the list.
It's on the list, yeah. So that, and there's like some weird things, that wind up on that list.
Like concepts like justice and
gun rights. But there's other things on there like air conditioning is one. So yeah, it is. Because a lot of Europe is not air conditioned, and so they say at first
Asia's not air conditioned.
They hate it because they get all dried out and stuff like that. But then once they get through half of summer, they're like, "Oh, this is glorious."
You can live anywhere.
You can live anywhere. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
So that's one. And then ice cream usually comes up too, and I find that kind of surprising. I wouldn't think that'd be too hard to find, but.
Well, all right. So I guess that's the others. The thing is that concept of sweetness is very different from region to region on this planet. And so I imagine the mellower ice cream that they were having.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then you have the fucking Spinal Tap turned up to 11 ice cream and whatever you have here.
Yeah, Cold Stone.
Yeah.
It's like, put all the sprinkles in that?
Yeah. It's a Cold Stone. You know what? I don't mind their ice cream, but to see what people do to it, it's like me and pizza. It's like, buddy, like...
Just give me a swirl cone, man.
It's a swirl cone, and it's like, you don't... the gummy bears aren't going to add anything to this, man. You're just going to be tasting gummy bears.
No, they turn rock hard in that thing too, man. It's dumb.
It's going to ruin this for you.
It's like
stupid.
Like, no, there's like a limited number of toppings. Most of them are traditional. Like, you can put chopped walnuts on it. I like that.
Why not? So, you know what? Actually, that mellows it out a little bit too. Yep. Peanuts add a little bit of salt to it. Yep. That's good.
That's good. So
sprinkles, I like the texture of it. I do.
Love the texture
I love sprinkles.
I get pissed when I get cupcakes got those little fucking like flower or heart shaped ones on them.
Go fuck yourself. That doesn't do anything. No. Part of it is the texture. Part of it is just like it's colorful. It's I don't know. I don't know why. It's one of those things that can make me that can make me happy. It's the difference between this is a cupcake and this is like I want to eat this.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or if the same thing. If you're going to get some ice cream, it's like you want sprinkles on it. Oh yeah,
I want sprinkles. Load it up.
But other things like you go there and it's like get the fucking gummy bears out of there. Like people going nuts with like demolished like Snickers and shit on there. It's like, bro, come on, man.
Some of those are good, man, but I don't know. I mean, you don't really need it. Oh, I do like it when they crush up the Crunch Bar. So that one's pretty good.
If you're in the mood for it, like if you want those little toffee bits, if you want the crushed up Heath bars, all right, I got it.
Those aren't bad. Yeah.
If you're feeling wacky and you want the mangled, Butterfingers in there, or this is contentious, but the Oreo crumbles.
I love the Oreo crumbles.
I think that's controversial.
That's always a good go-to for me, man. So yeah, if I put anything in there, anything that gets closer to cookies and cream ice cream, man, I love that shit. I can see it. I can see it. It's just, I think those flavors actually work just fine on their own. They're fine, but yeah, I mean, they're fine together too. So I love that shit. So
it's like,
man, I haven't been to like a Baskin Robbins or a Dairy Queen in ages. So you got me thinking about this.
You haven't been gaining weight, man. You're good.
No, man. That's just like, it's not the dessert fiend that I used to be. So
no, you've ramped that way down.
Yeah, I have. I don't eat Oreos one magazine at a time.
It's not good for you.
No, it's not good.
It's so much harder to work off at this age too. It really is. Indulgences are, you got to pay for them. It's like the church. It's like actual like indulgences. Church, yeah.
I don't know, man. I've just become more tolerant to hunger. So, it's just like, I don't really need to eat. So it's like, you're just mad. So shut up, go back to bed.
Mad.
You're just mad.
I don't know. I mean, there's time for it. Again, I know that, it's a struggle I'll always have where it's like, well, I'm like a dog. The switch doesn't go off. That was the other thing that freaked me out about her was she didn't want to eat. That's when I called the vet.
That's a good sign.
I was like, wait a minute. Like, all this dog wants to do is eat. This is...
I had a cat like that the other day, but it turned out to just be a giant hairball.
That's disgusting, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, man. Yeah. So some cats get them, some cats don't. I have one that does. So it's the skinny one too, man. So maybe that's why she's skinny.
Maybe it is.
I have no idea.
What would you do? I mean, that's the thing is if you had a tennis ball worth of hair in your stomach at all times, that's kind of like gastric bypass.
It kind of is, man. So, yeah. It's funny, though. So, he's like, you'll hear the cat, like, dying. And they're just like, and then you're like, come on, just get it out. I know what you're doing. So, I've had cats long enough to know it's like, okay, that's the hairball sound. So, yeah. And then, and you can tell sometimes it's like you should not eat right now. So you should not do that because I'm gonna have to clean up more here soon. So
that was funny, because when they were talking to me about trying to get her to vomit, they're like, well, we're gonna take her back there and see if we can't get her to, I was like, well, how? And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, are you gonna give her something, or are you just gonna like?
Right. You get bit, man.
Well, that's what I was like. Because if you're doing that, let me help. Yeah. Right. She won't chomp me. They're looking at me like I'm a savage. Like, we don't do that.
We don't do that here. Looking at you like you grew up on a farm.
I know.
So, get out of here, country mouse.
Yeah, I know. It's they look. It's like I don't think you. We don't treat your dog like she's a bulimic, where it's like, oh, that's a big meal. I'm gonna have a finger for dessert.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Let me flip the spoon over.
right. Yeah, that look, that wide-eyed, like, excuse me?
Excuse me? Yeah, exactly. So,
Do you think we're in Guatemala? Is this... Yeah.
Guatemala. So,
yeah, I was vets and ice cream and stuff, man.
yeah, that's nice.
I am, I have hit that absolute knee-deep in the Witcher stage where, like, I don't...
Oh, yeah.
Where I don't want to stop. And I'll ask you this, if this is the same part where...
I'm taking it kind of slow.
I am too, and this is the thing, is I am in the part where you're right in the middle of where, like, it's the bathhouses part, and you're working with Dijkstra and
you're already to Novigrad. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
Did you go there first, or did you do all the stuff in Valen first?
I did enough stuff there.
There's a lot to do. I forgot how much shit there was to do.
Like,
there.
There's way more stuff there, and I'll go back for some of it because just fast travel. Yeah, this is the part where it's hard for me to put it down because this is the game world part actually done so well. This is the part I really have to compliment, where it's like, all right, this game never puts the artificial clock on you and says, hey, time's running out. This is bad. What it does is it says, okay, so you have a goal, right? You have something that you need to do. And once you get to this part where it is straight up, the gameplay loop is, I need this. This person needs this.
Right.
This person needs this.
Yes.
This person happens to be opposed to this person.
Yes.
And you get caught up in this bullshit drama that has nothing to do with you, but it does because it's all in the purpose of what you're trying to do, and it doesn't feel hackneyed. And I have to give that game credit, where I end up getting involved in all of this crap, even though the part of me that says there's no part where it's that Fallout 4 switch where it's like, you guys are just fucking around to fuck around.
Yeah, it's time to put this thing on rails to the end. Yeah, that did happen in Fallout 4. After I'd spent many, many hours fixing the wasteland.
I mean, that's you. That's
there's no doing that in The Witcher.
That is exactly. Well, I mean, you do things, and it's just
do some things.
They have consequences, but
yeah. No, I'm still in Valen. But I remember my last run through with Novigrad, I got involved in everybody's shit.
That's
and after a little while, I was like, I want the fuck out of this town. So I want out of this place. I'm tired of you and your scheming, plotting bullshit. And you, Dijkstra, you are just bad news, man. So,
he's a fat character that doesn't look ridiculous.
He's huge.
I don't know what to tell you.
He's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
So, no, he actually looks pretty good. So, but then, get involved with all the stuff with Triss and stuff. I was like, oh. So.
I know. And like, you can get as into that as you want, but yeah, it's just, for me, like, walking through this, this is within the news of, I don't know, you've done a pretty good job of calling out a lot of the perpetrators in games journalism that have contributed to its ruin. But have you been seeing what's been happening to the games industry in the past, 2 weeks?
Just the Paradox stuff and people mad about Skylines too, but I don't know what else is going on.
Shoot. Okay. Well, so a lot of companies are just laying off customers or employees like crazy.
Well, yeah, AI is going to do that. So
it's not an AI thing.
What is it?
It's a sales thing. It's basically that unsustainability thing that we talked about, where they hit it. They said this, and there have been inklings toward. So a couple of things have just officially died at this point. The concept of games as a service is now dead.
Games as a service? Give me an example of that. I know I remember hearing that, but I don't remember what it was supposed
games
to
as a service. Like think about
It's supposed to be like Overwatch or something.
a little bit, but more so think like Destiny. Think about
Oh, okay. All right. There
right
you go.
where you're gonna keep coming back to it, and what you're gonna do is, all right. So yes, you bought this for $60, and you're we've got you for 50 hours, but you're gonna keep playing because there's gonna be boxes. There's gonna be. Do you want to buy the new skins for your gun? Do you want to buy where it is
Yeah.
a continued revenue stream?
Right.
And the last few experiments with this stuff have just blown up in their faces. Like, this is not working. They've tried to play with that model where they're saying, like, well, in order to take care of a cast, or not a cast, but a staff of 400 people,
That's a lot.
we have to charge more than $60.
Yeah.
And the public won't do it. So
No, they seem pretty committed to that price point. I mean, Starfield pushed it up a little bit. To the point in time where I think the $70 price point is probably going to stick for a while, especially for your AAA games.
well, those ones usually always have like a little a rider attached where it's like
They do.
you can get it at 60, but if you want the complete edition, you get it for 70.
Yeah,
right?
and this will give you like the first year of content or whatever.
Yes. So
Notwithstanding that your game was absolute hot shit. So,
yeah, we've really turned a corner on
We
that.
really
We were
have,
very
man.
forgiving about it in the beginning, but
Yeah.
I
I
guess-
don't know. It might cyberpunk itself. You never know.
it might.
So
It might, especially since I just played through that. Like, I just have my doubts. I don't think.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Judging by the lack of like communications that I've been seeing, at least Colossal Orders, like, thinking about firing their CEO. So,
Really?
yeah, something.
I did
like
not
that.
hear that. Yeah.
I don't know why it keeps showing up on my newsfeed, but it does. So, but yeah, no, games are a little bit different, man. So now there was a lot of disappointing titles last year, and there's a lot of like sleeper titles that came out of nowhere. So the indie, 5 to 10 man kind of like development studio, and then launching into early access in order to fund and flesh everything out. That's not going to last, though. I'm going to tell you that right now, man. So the last couple games that I played that were early access, they come out, and then these guys collect a lot of money, and then they say they're going to do a lot of work, and they don't. So yeah, like Valheim is one of those now. They came out with whole new realms and stuff like that. It took years. So
Yeah.
to do that stuff, and so I think the early access model is probably on the way out too. They're going to be looking for like Rockstar is probably going to nail it on GTA 6. So when they just like, okay, here's your perfectly polished game that has millions of hours of replayability in it. So right up front, and it's $70. Have at it.
Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna release like we're gonna plan on putting out like 2 expansions to this.
Oh yeah, and then there's be an online portion to it as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. They got that one kind of figured out, and so there's no reason to fuck with it.
No, that's their corner. But I mean, that's the thing is a lot of studios they can't do it, and basically they're one flop away from annihilation because of how much these things cost.
Yeah, no, they cost an insane amount of money. Now they'll start coming down in prices. Like they'll have like AI generated worlds that are basically like Minecraft, but doesn't look like Minecraft.
Right.
Those are probably less than 4 or 5 years away at this point in time. The thing is that there's going to be so many of them that no 2 people are going to play the same one. So so I think Rockstar knows that GTA 6 is probably the last gasp for the giant mega game that everybody's going to fucking play.
It's a tough one. I mean, this is the thing is very simplistic things. I mean, again, Minecraft being the perfect example, but also like things like Roblox and things like that, where they ended up getting huge off of very small. Like, what's our game?
But Roblox is very different. So it's not a game. So
well, it is, but it's not.
It's like a game store. So there's a million games on Roblox.
Yeah.
So I mean, like a GTA release is not. Those are not
absolutely not. But that's not what people would want. They wouldn't want to have that same kind of openness in that game. trying to, essentially emulate reality while still actually having fun with it, because reality is, you live it. It sucks sometimes. You wouldn't want to.
It's just tedious. I wouldn't say it sucks that bad.
Dude, it is tedious, but I mean, you wouldn't play a game that made you actually wake up at 5:45 to go to a job you didn't want to go to. No.
Well, not unless you could get promoted in 3 days by making 2 friends and
That's right.
Out for
yeah, fuck off. Yeah. Right. So there you go. You reached my problem. Yeah. Most people's reality is a little bit humdrum, and you wouldn't want to make a game out of it.
I remember I was playing that game back when I was fucking poor. And I was like, God, I wish life was this easy.
I know.
Yeah. I was like, I'm so poor right now. So I don't know if I can cover my bills at the end of the month. Why can't I sell my windows? So I remember thinking that, like, when my wife and I bought our first house and we had to repaint it, I was like, isn't there a shift key there? So can I just rotate furniture without using my hands?
There is this thing where you put the furniture inside your house regardless of what your doors will permit.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because there's very few things as frustrating as trying to, like, it makes you wonder. It makes you say, why would you shape a couch this way, and why did I buy it? Yeah, there's this complication on that. The same thing with God, I remember there were times where it's like, oh man, I wish life were easy enough where you can skip every other day of work.
Yeah.
They'll just call you fired. And they won't. You don't call them. You don't call them and go like, right? You don't do any of that shit.
You just don't go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So. And then you sit there and you read a cookbook for 9 hours because you're trying to break into that field, which is, how that works. No, what you're talking about, right, is that same thing where life would be much easier if you had very specific guidelines that said, all right, if you have this, this, and this, you get the job, and you get this.
Yeah, that doesn't work that way.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I'm actually glad it doesn't work that way.
Well, all right.
Yeah, I kind of am. So
I guarantee you that you and I could make arguments both ways and pile them up against each other, and it's going to come down to your gut.
It is, but like I just see so many people who try and min-max everything now. So it's just like,
how do they do that?
I don't. It just depends.
How would you describe that process?
So just trying to sit there and think, like, specifically, like, on a resume. What are the 5 things on here that are going to look the best? And you don't know the answer to that because you have no idea what they're looking for, man. Yeah. And so, if you do that, you're just kind of setting yourself up in some ways to, because you think you're in control when actually you just need to accept that you're not in control in those situations. So, and that way, if you don't get the job, it's not a reflection upon you. So it's just they had another guy. So, or, right. The job folded or something like that, or, no, you're not qualified for it. So, just something, and so.
Well, and you're right. And there's also that heartbreak that people have of, how could this have gone wrong? I Googled what employers want on their resume, and I have them all.
Right, yeah. I put all them in keywords in the background and then changed the font to clear. So, because I'm clever. And it's like, dude, stop being an asshole. It's like, nobody got rich off credit card points. Fuck off.
Well, listen, and that's the same thing where, like, all right, so if you found this by Googling it,
right. Sorry, I forgot that was the front door.
Right.
So it says, "Come on in."
It's the same thing that happened to being a local in town when Waze and Google Maps destroyed all of your secret back roads.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, or the Google would send you down the one that's got an alligator pit in the middle of it. So,
they fixed that.
They fixed that.
But you know what I'm talking about. There was just something where, like, you used to have sort of in the back, information.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. It's not. It's
no, it doesn't work like that anymore. We can chalk that up to something that the internet thoroughly killed. So,
and speaking of killing, so I did get in on the ground floor of something which you might be interested in. Is actually AI training
for what?
For basically like essentially like ChatGPT, that kind of stuff.
But what kind of training?
Training the model.
Oh, okay.
I got in on that.
That's kind of interesting.
It's far less complex than you would think it is.
Don't you just type shit in and then say, take this into consideration or something like that? Oh, okay.
No. What it is, and this is, I couldn't believe this. So my brother sent me a message, I think on Monday, whatever day it was. Because if you go down my calendar, right, it's like nothing. I got one thing on this one day. And my brother's like, hey, you want to go to Chili's with my kids? I'm like, I would. I'll bet you they have a chicken sandwich. I'm like, well, this is the one day that I have something scheduled. But where I'm going to get in on this. And so the way that this model works is, so I'm doing this for writing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the way that this works is that it will give you a prompt, and you have to give it a prompt.
Right, yeah.
You have to give it a prompt, and you have to give it very specific things, right? And your job is to basically get the AI to fuck up.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to get it to mess up and not be able to do a good job with what you're asking it to do.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to that point, and if it's doing a good job, you do it again. You do it again, you do it again, until you fuck it up. Then when you fuck it up, then you have to correct it.
Okay.
Right? So if something is coming across as basically like emotionless, you have to rewrite it. Right? And you submit this and you say like this is, and then somebody will code it. There are people that code and they can, make extra money that way. But
like on Fiverr or something?
Huh?
Oh.
No, this is I'm doing this for a company, Patrick.
Neat.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's very interesting in that regard. We're like, all right, so this is fun in its own right. It's tedious because of the things you have to do. It's basically being creative on demand, which is tough. But
that is hard.
But through this process, I basically figured out how Google Gemini got so fucked up.
Oh yeah. I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah. I found out how it got all fucked up.
I wonder if they're gonna like relaunch that and rebrand it. I'll be curious.
I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
I know Google has sort of a history of doing that. I know that they've released, like, they have a...
Well, they've had, like, 4 different versions of a chat, fucking, yeah.
They have. Remember, what was Google's version of, like, Facebook? They had one, and...
It was, like, G Plus or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I had that for a little while.
Was it any good?
No, they sunsetted it. So, deleted all your shit. So... Yeah, there was a little time there where I was like, oh, we'll just do everything on Google,
Right.
So,
Right.
And then, their products just weren't that good. So, like the Google chat, I mean, I still use that. So, Hangouts or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Just because my brother uses it and my wife uses it. So, nobody else I know uses it. So, literally nobody
I've been
else.
switched over to WhatsApp.
No, I'm not even on that, man.
Yeah.
You just use the SMS. So,
That's fine, too.
It's fine. Yeah. So... But, I'd be surprised if they don't murder off Gemini and then bring it back as something else.
Yeah.
They'll call it Apollo or something.
Dude, Google and Microsoft have like a little 2-person race of how many things that they can invent, kill within a year, and then reinvent.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, I don't know though. Microsoft's pretty solid. So
no, they are still making money hand over fist. The one thing that they are pissy about is people don't want Windows 11.
No.
The thing is I use 10 and 11. I use 10 on my setup, and I use 11 on the work setup. It is virtually identical.
I don't even know which one I have.
That's sort of the point.
Right? I don't even know which one I have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The major thing is that evidently Windows 11 has some security features that companies care about.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
yeah.
But no, those guys, they make their money the way they make their money.
Yeah.
I think Office still just rakes in cash.
Oh yeah. Well, it's on a subscription service now, which they should have done years ago. So
they did. But you and I have a distorted view of like, oh, you guys just started doing this. They're like, assholes. We've been doing this it's like 2007.
I know. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So it's just like you finally made me do it. I can't go to Best Buy and buy the box with the discs in it.
You know what? Okay. Yeah. Exactly. I know that. Oh my God.
And then after switching over to like Office Express, I was like, this is way better.
Way better.
This is way better.
No, man, it's the same thing where you can kind of piecemeal out what you want out of Office now too. Because what is the pink thing in Office? The thing that I never.
Dude, there are so many things in Office now. I don't even know what the fuck they are, man. So I've got an account with Office. What is it, 365?
Yes.
There's like 20 fucking apps in there, man. I mean, it's like I use Word and Excel. So, and then I'll use PowerPoint if you make me. So,
Access. That's the
Access.
Do you use Access?
I used to use it a lot. I don't.
What do you use it for?
It's a database system. So it's just like, think of like a 3D spreadsheet, man. So, so.
I can only think in 2 dimensions with spreadsheets. What is the third dimension of spreadsheet?
So you have like individual. Okay, so like you remember Sabre?
Yeah.
That's basically Access, where you use a key code to actually pull up somebody's information, and it's got all their fucking information on it. So on Excel, that would be one line item with multiple variables. Okay, in Access, you can look it up using any of those variables. Yes. So
okay.
Yeah, and so that's the best way to think of it.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I can see that being very, very useful to a company.
That's why it's been there since the beginning.
That shit ain't for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I don't need PowerPoint. I'll never make a. Well, you probably still use it.
I don't do PowerPoints anymore unless I have to. And I've got a very simple PowerPoint rule on every lecture or presentation I ever do. 5 slides maximum. So first one must be a title slide. No more than 3 bullets per slide. That is my rule. So yeah, that is my rule.
Are sound effects allowed?
No. Ideally, they should be black and white in Times New Roman. Yes. So yeah. So, although I am a fan of the like text on the left and nice picture on the right. So there's something about that works. So
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
No, there is something aesthetically. It's not just pleasing. It's like comforting.
Yeah. It's very straightforward.
I don't know why. Yeah, but it
very,
is. Yeah.
It's very straightforward. So, yeah, no, I mean, oh God, I've seen some of my colleagues put together like 120 points on slide, lecture decks, and I'm like, oh man, you can't make me watch it if I stab my eyes out.
Bro, look, the worst thing, I remember, it wasn't just colleagues, but I also remember professors that would do that. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that they would do is they would also make the slideshow available. Mm-hmm. Like, you could grab the printout.
Oh, yeah. And it had the little notes, the 2 sides with the slide, and then the like 8 lines of notes that you can do on one side. Yeah, I remember that.
At which point, yeah, the thing I always the conclusion was, well, what do I need you for?
Well, yeah, why do I need to be in this room? Yeah.
Because if you have that many slides and that many notes, you are just going to read from it.
Oh, yeah. No, and a lot of people do. I mean, that hasn't changed. So.
No, but 5 slides, 3 points, right? You have to choose. You have to summarize your goddamn ideas.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. Well, and I refuse to lecture for more than about half an hour. So I just can't go more than that. So I bore myself. So
well, my shit was books, but it wasn't
your shit was
lecturing.
books, yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing is most of the time I was just talking with these guys because like
I'm not so good at that.
It's my lecture and it's going to be interrupted by I want your input.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not so good at that. I have this bad habit of
teaching.
Huh?
Different class you're teaching though.
Well, no, I get that, but I've tried discussion methods in the past. It's not my go-to method for a lot of things. I'll have them discuss, and then share your ideas with me.
That's probably better.
It is way better because otherwise I suck all the oxygen out of the room. So I do that a lot. So I don't mean to. So I just speak better than all of them.
Yeah.
I'm quite practiced at projection, and I have a million jokes. So yeah, that I use every semester.
Yeah, I understand. I understand uniquely. Yes.
Yeah, but oh well. No, I'd be interested to see how that AI works a little bit. So
it's funny. It's actually again I got a little bit more insight from other people too. And again, it all comes down to the story of it. The answers to all of your questions come down to who's in the Slack channel. And just looking at this crowd, I'm like, all right, this is how you.
Oh wow, people still use Slack.
Everybody uses Slack. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it.
God, they tried to get us to use that during COVID, man, and we almost had an armed rebellion. So
it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was trying to do, this is where I was trying to see. This is how I really broke it. I was trying to get the AI model to basically underhandedly write an expose about like why transgenderism is dangerous, and I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was discreet but not discreet about it. I was like, look, I want you to use real world examples of look up information and find examples of celebrities telling people that they are basically administering self-love and saying that they're perfect the way that they are, right? And the whole purpose of this is to basically write in the format of a mock, say like magazine expose about, the dangers of ignoring the people that know you best and placing all your weight in what a celebrity tells you. And it couldn't do it, so I had to correct it.
I'm surprised there's not research on that. There's got to be.
There is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And the other,
it would seem like there would be a lot of literature on that. So
your people don't like it though. This is
that probably goes back to the Beatles. So for crying out loud, as far as when people have been researching that shit.
Well, the Beatles weren't known
or
for
Elvis. It's definitely gonna go back to Elvis.
Elvis is a different story. Elvis was Elvis, and nobody tried to live like Elvis without assuming the risks.
You die. You live by the sway, you die on the toilet.
That's cool. And look, hey, some people, when they check out that way, they're going to say, I lived exactly as I wanted.
Right.
And exactly as long as I wanted, because it's amazing, Patrick. We're both older than Elvis.
Oh, are we?
Was when he died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh.
That's creepy.
God, yeah. But he looked old. I don't look
yes.
Old. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And we didn't, here's the thing, we didn't go through, you want to talk about just burning the candle at both ends, man. Like, you're talking about, again, he took like karate just to look tough, right? He had guns and badges, right? The cops didn't
like
hate
Steven
him.
Skull.
Right.
So you have little tiny eyeglasses that barely fit
yes,
his face.
Yes,
yeah.
I know. And people liked all this. He put himself on the front of fucking Graceland. I mean, this is he lived a rapper's lifestyle like well before any.
About 20 years before anybody else did. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he's still well loved in the lexicon. When you, I mean, again, when you talk about the stuff with like Priscilla Presley, it's like the girl was 14.
Yeah.
I mean, now
There's something about that era in the South, though. You kind of get a pass on it. So, I mean, well, you can't take today's standards and paste them on past, man.
I know.
So,
The question is, did they know what was wrong?
It's possible, yes. So, yeah.
And the answer is really always going to come down to, like, well, where did you grow up?
Right, yeah, yeah.
I know where you grew up.
Right.
And I know where Priscilla grew up. And I know what like, all right, I get it.
I get it.
I'm still allowed to say it's icky.
It is icky.
So, anyway, yeah, but yeah, that's sort
There
of...
are a lot of icky things in this world, Jeff. That's a great word. You know?
I don't know what to tell you, man. Again, I take that sort of that same historical approach as you is well, what did they think about it at the time?
Right.
But that doesn't stop me from being like,
Vikings were still very icky people.
Vikings were icky people. There's still a lot of like times where I say first cousin, or
right, yeah, right, yeah. Can you get one removed in there? Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I have some of the same hangups that you do. So
yeah. Well, I mean, understanding and putting things in their correct context is different than endorsing them, in which most people fucking confuse that. So, can you give me an example? Let's talk about states' rights, Jeff. So, shall we? Let's talk about the War of Rights. Dude, there's a guy on TikTok who's just been blowing me up this week. So
in a good way, or
he's so fucking funny. He's this black guy, and he plays this game called War of Rights. And the War of Rights game is a first-person shooter.
Is this a real game?
It's a real game in the Civil War, and this guy is as black as they get.
Okay.
And he can switch the accent between black and redneck. And so he goes on teams there and tries to get them to say what they really think. It is so fucking entertaining, man. But he's done it long enough now where a lot of people know who he is.
Oh,
so they'll start saying...
Right.
So yeah, there's definitely some assholes out there who just, hey, it's fucking Call of Duty territory all over again.
Yeah.
I'm going to report you and your so-called insignia there. So,
that particular thing, I do have to speak on that because, in hindsight, right, the create your own emblem thing lasted all of one game.
Was it only Black Ops 1?
It was only one game.
We broke it.
You know why? Because of that.
Yeah. Because of that.
Yeah. I looked into more recent ones. This came up somewhere. It turns out they let people do that exactly one time.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. Yeah, but that was the one where you could make... Didn't you have... No, William had one with a dinosaur in it.
William had this beautiful thing where he had a man, a dinosaur, and a carrot, and he
had like lightning bolts between them. So it was supposed to be some kind of like thing.
Yeah. Mine was different.
Yours was different. Yours was the reason why they got banned, man. So... So it did not have shoestoppable bolts. So
it absolutely did not. It did not, but it was a tribute to vaudeville.
Right, it was.
The the other thing, the other supposition on this, and they may have had a point, was they do say that I guess in the newer games. Mm-hmm. You can also pay for stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
For skins and stuff like that. So
yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
There is likely a monetary incentive on this, but I think it was edited out for a different reason.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man.
That
stuff got bad, too, there. I mean, there were, despite all the cries of rampant anti-Semitism in the United States right now, yeah, there was a time where that had a little bit more of an edge to it. So
it did, and the edge was obvious.
Exactly, it was like, I know what you're doing. So it's like, what's wrong with you?
Well, look, all right. So obviously, I don't have a I don't endorse it, but I also it's one of those it is one of those things I'm willing to overlook and say, like, boys will be boys. Yes, I like.
Oh, back then, yeah,
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, because you got 14-year-old boys who just discovered what Nazi tanks are.
Absolutely right.
I think they're cool.
As a matter of fact, the corniest shit that I've been coming across lately, Patrick, is the resurgence on this is I've been seeing people apply like Nordic runes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, obviously you're familiar
I've
with
seen
this.
some of that stuff too. Yeah.
All right.
Well, and this is the thing that's like hilarious about this too. I was actually reading in, what was it? I don't think this was actually on Twitter. It might have been on Twitter actually, where this guy.
That's where I started seeing this crap.
Yeah. But he wasn't talking about Nordic runes, but this guy was talking. It's like a few like high viewer or follower accounts out there that are a little bit borderline, in terms of like, yeah, you're getting a little close to the border there, buddy.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
They're not even fucking Americans. So there's a ton of them, and he was like, nobody from America would say this way. So, and he's like, you're using an American VPN, okay, to actually post this shit up here. So, but you're obviously from Romania.
Right.
So,
right. Yes.
And so, and I started looking at some of the other shit that I see across there, and fucking he is right, man. There is way more international accounts than I was actually paying attention to before on Twitter. So, and it's like, wait a minute, man, I've been watching you for a little bit. You're not even American. What the fuck? Fuck off.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing here talking about this shit? You don't know anything about this. So
no, it'd be like hearing an American person. You're right, and you just have to catch them on one thing, right? It's like hearing a person with my accent saying that, like, where were you yesterday? It's like, well, I was sick. I was in hospital, right?
Exactly.
You're laughing.
Yeah, no, exactly. So
you're like,
right. I was at university. It's like what?
Which university?
Right. Yeah.
That's all it takes is something like that for the hats off moment, because there are a lot of look, man. There's a weird thing where why people think these are so interchangeable is bizarre to me. Where people will say like. There are surprisingly more like Brits on Twitter than I'd ever give it credit for, and a lot of them try to LARP as Americans. Sometimes it's like where not that they're trying to pretend, but it's this thing where you say like, oh well, British politics is analogous to American politics, 1 for 1.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I know. I wouldn't even. I couldn't if you walk two of them by me, I couldn't tell the difference between a Labour and a Tory. So
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know anything about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
When it's and yet you're in here talking shit about fucking Joe Biden or something like that. It's like you don't know anything about this stuff. So does it affect you?
You know why? Because you live there.
Yeah, it's not your business.
Right. Now that's not going to stop me, from like I'll take swipes at you.
Right? Oh yeah, sure. That's you're a provocateur.
Yes.
So, yes. So yeah.
But that's a swipe. I would never come up there with some like pretend level of expertise. I wouldn't jump into this and say like
real American here.
Boy, that still got you.
That's so funny, man. I see that shit on Twitter all the time.
I will say, okay, now I will say that somebody got Mark Cuban with that, and that was funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the one specifically where I did save this screen image where I'm going to read you Mark Cuban's tweet. Okay. All right.
This isn't where he got in a fight with Elon Musk, is it?
He got in a fight with everybody, and rightly so. He does. Mark Cuban says, and I quote, "I never hired anyone based exclusively on race, gender, religion. I only hire the person that will put my business in the best position to succeed. And yes, race and gender can be part of the equation. I view diversity as a competitive advantage." So, my question is, if somebody is going to say, "Hi, blank here," who would be the person that should show up and it would be funny?
The person that would show up?
Yes.
And it would be funny?
Yes. Given what Mark Cuban just said.
Kamala Harris?
Well, there's no. The expert that chimed in was, "Hi, EEOC commissioner here."
That's pretty good.
So again, we don't see great applications, but this one was
that one actually worked out pretty good.
Yeah, where
the actual EEOC.
Yeah, it's like, unfortunately, you're dead wrong on black letter, Title VII law. As a general rule, race sex can't even be a motivating factor, nor a plus factor, tiebreaker, or tipping point.
No, the Supreme Court is very clear about that. Thank you, University of Michigan and North Carolina. So,
is that where that comes from?
The original one was University of Michigan, or it might have been Michigan State. It's one of the two.
Is it?
So,
okay.
Yeah. And then that Harvard case.
Yes.
The Harvard one doesn't matter as much as the UNC one that matters because that, Harvard can turn around and tell Title I funds to fuck off.
Right.
So, yeah, but UNC cannot do that.
No.
So.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's why, what was it? Yale reinstated the SAT last week.
Did they really?
They did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then so did another school, too. Oh, big one. Might have been Stanford. So.
Not Spelman?
No. What is it? What is spell? Is that an HBCU? So
it's black only.
Yeah, no, no. There's like 4 of those. So
yeah, Spelman's one.
Ball State. Howard is the big one.
Howard's the big one. Spelman, I remember because on the Cosby Show, they went to an analogous college called Hillman.
Yep.
And I looked it up.
Yeah.
And it's not a real place.
Hillman is not.
No, it's not.
No, Spelman is. Yeah.
Because I wanted to go where
the Cosby kids went?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You can. They're not exclusively black colleges. You can go to them. So.
No, but you cannot go to Hillman.
Yeah, you can. Oh, no, you're right. No, you can't go there.
Right.
That doesn't exist.
I was like, this must be a good school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, all 4 of them are really good schools. So. Well,
so I understand. Yeah.
They do. They get a lot of extra special funding and stuff. So
look, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's
well, they got those. They got HSBCs, and then they got HSIs, and then they got
what's an HSI?
Hispanic Serving Institution.
Oh, okay.
So and then they have tribal colleges. I've actually been to a tribal college. They are very different places. So
tribal anything is kind of
no. These are the nicest schools you'll ever step foot in. So. It's amazing. So
okay.
They make your local community college look like fucking prison.
Were these the places that you went to that were also basically unattended?
Yeah.
These are the places that are
They're
really
more like community centers. Yeah. They're more like community centers, but they are.
Because that ain't the shit that I saw.
They are extremely well funded. Yeah. So, or at least a couple that. Well, I've only been to one, but I did a paper on a couple.
One more than I went to, because I was on the reservation.
No, I was not on that reservation. So yeah, I don't know about that one.
Well, look, I'm going to say this. This is the thing that this is the thing that gets lost in the maelstrom of giving middle fingers to Mount Rushmore. Is this whole thing about all right, well, these things have been taken, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, I get you, but are you taking advantage of the things that have been laid out for you? Because if you're not, I'm here to tell you that you have opportunities that you don't even think you do.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's a more complicated issue behind that entire thing.
Totally understand.
So,
yes.
It's actually just the tribes are shrinking rapidly. So, all of them.
I saw something on that 20 years ago.
I can't
imagine it's getting better.
No, it's just gotten worse and worse. So, yeah. Yeah, so and so there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of butter and very little bread. So it's it's interesting. So, but I don't know, man. I mean, that the whole colonization. So
guys,
it is dying as we speak, man. I mean that was the thing that I found the most fascinating about Gemini last week. Was how fucking funny everybody found that to be. I mean, it was kind of like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think we're in a different place than we were in 2020.
Well, where you can laugh at it.
Yeah, and everybody was laughing at it. even some people at work who are a little bit more on the lefturn side of the spectrum thought that shit was funny. And I was like, you know what, that's good. So that is a good thing, and I'm glad we're finally getting over some of this bullshit. Because it's coming around to the point in time people are just going to start paying attention to the election here soon. So, I mean, the whole Gaza thing is just...
It resolved itself.
It totally resolved itself, man. I mean, I saw so much fucking hoopla this week about, Joe Biden's going to get referended, in Michigan, because they have a large, pro-Palestinian population. It was just like nothing. It was like the whole state's like, yeah, we don't give a shit about that.
No, I would say you'd have a bigger that in Minnesota than.
It's bigger in Michigan, actually.
Is it really?
It is, yeah. So there are 2 towns in Michigan, and there's a little bit more in Minnesota because that's where what's her name is from.
It's not Talib. It's
no, Talib is from Michigan.
The other one. It's,
the other one. I can't remember her name.
Whatever. She's a third of the squad. All right. She's
down to 3 now.
Who else is on there? It's
AOC.
It's Talib, and I know her name has. I think it begins with an O.
I know who you're talking about. I thought there was another couple guys on there too, though.
There were dudes?
I thought there was one.
I don't remember there being dudes in it because...
Wasn't Corey Bush supposed to be on there?
Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And Rokana or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's Silicon Valley
forgotten one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he's probably pro
Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it was basically, and then they had a couple polls come out last week, and it basically, it was like less than 10% of Americans were like concerned about Gaza.
Well,
and then the other 90 was split into 2 camps. One was like, yeah, fuck around, this is what happens. And the other half was
post the chart. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other one, yeah, they posted a chart, yeah. So, and then, the other half was like, what? Huh?
Yeah, Gaza, Kentucky?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Gaza, Kentucky.
Right. Is that by the deli? Yeah.
Right, yeah. I think they have a Sparrow there.
It's like the last one.
It's like the last one.
Sparrows are still open wherever bad times are had. It's the and all that attention, like you're talking about, it's not something where it impacts both parties equally.
No, it's completely on blue team that is like actively tearing itself in half right now. But I think the rip is almost complete. We'll see.
Well, ultimately here, once they actually look, there has to be bloodletting in that party, right? We've known this.
There will be.
There has to be bloodletting. And ultimately, I don't traditionally prescribe, leeches as medicine. But once... I'm telling you, once the bloodsuckers have actually gotten out those clumps, that's going to be a much healthier place that hopefully I can actually look upon with respect.
Yeah.
Once they actually look at these crappy elements and say you guys are all just clotted dead blood and fucking river monsters ate you.
Full of drowners.
Okay, all right, so fuck that game. All right, because every time I start up, because it's been such a long time, and you started up for the first time, and it just feels bad because wow, it's I remember how to play this, but I guess I don't because I'm getting fucking shellacked by drowners in the beginning of this game. I remember fighting way better monsters and, doing, making it look like a dance like it's described. Why am I getting my ass kicked by these fucking fish things? Yeah. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The water hags. So
the water hags fuck you up.
The first time that you get hit with a mud pie and you're dead, and you're like, what the fuck?
it's so juvenile. Like, this is corny. It's like,
corny.
what?
Yeah.
Why am I getting splatted? But yeah, I was getting mad. I'm like, why are these guys fucking me up? It's like, oh wait, this happens to me every time I play
I'm
this
level
game.
6. Yeah, this makes sense now.
Yeah.
I forgot about the monster scaling. I was like, oh yeah. So I was like, I probably shouldn't do this mission that's like for someone who's an 18. Got it.
Or you get it in your head and say like, I must succeed.
No, man. I try.
You know?
No, that game. I'm very good at the combat system of that game, but I will back off. It's like, nope, this is not going to work.
All right.
So yeah, I will back off. I will go find the next chemical that I need, in order to make that potion that makes me kick ass.
You are a better person than I am because I will beat my head against the wall.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Democrats are doing. So
they're good at it.
They are really good at it.
They're awesome at it.
Oh yeah, I don't know though, man. We'll see. So I still smell like convention shenanigans afoot.
It would be very fun to watch if it does happen. It will be monumental.
I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but I'm getting whiffs of it here and there. So
I feel like the threat of it is enough.
Maybe if Joe Biden's even aware. So,
entirely
I have
possible,
no idea, man.
I know.
So, the guy, like, although Donald Trump, I saw videos of him limping the other day. Did you see those? Him gimping around?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So,
but then again, my dog does that. So, I mean...
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just... There was that narrative that his brain was just as melty. Videos are going on all last week and the week before that. And then he actually comes out and does a decent speech. And you're like, oh, no, it's not the same.
No, but that's the thing is the... Look, I don't think his brain is melty. I think that certain parts of it fused when he was like 18. Because that's the guy that he is. Right. I did see him today. They both went to Texas today, and the contrast of like Trump meeting people in Texas and Biden meeting people. Biden was actually being like pushed around by a guide. Like he's got his hand on his back.
Yeah.
And Trump's out there like fucking shaking hands and laughing and it's
no, they don't
not
look
the
same.
same.
No,
it's not. I mean, it is concerning if you think about it. Like, look, I think I've said this to you before. Like, in my ideal world, I wouldn't have either of these candidates, and part of that would be looking at this and saying, like, what is the shelf life on you boys? I'm not trying to discriminate against age, but my ideal candidate wouldn't be.
No. I mean, I don't really mind the age that much. It's the cognitive capacity that I'm worried about.
That's the danger.
Yeah, I know, but like, I don't think the age. Like, I don't like the argument where people say, "Well, nobody over the age of 70 should be over." I was like, no, man, that we have rules in place like that. They're called elections. So
yes,
yeah,
you're throwing away experience at that point.
Exactly.
Which is don't do that.
Don't do that, and you never know. Like, I mean, in another 30 years, people might be living to 100. No problem. You don't know. So.
It could be happening in 5 years.
It could be happening in 5 years. Yeah, you never, no idea, man. So, but still, at the same point in time, I don't like it when people throw out arbitrary rules like that. But I mean, like Joe Biden. I mean, ultimately, if he decides to run in the fall, he's going to have to answer to that, and people are going to make their decision whether he does or not. So, and I mean, he just like on stage right now. I can't imagine him agreeing to a debate. So.
No, and that's another thing I do have a problem with.
I do too, but
the fact that people have been able to like duck out of these now just seems
that might be the new norm. I don't know, man. I mean, there was never a rule that they had to do
not. It's one of those unspoken baseball rules where
it's only been around since Nixon and Kennedy. So
I know, but that predates all of us. I mean, we're talking about we're getting closer to 100 years than we are.
Yeah, that's true.
50. Since that time period, and it's sort of like problematic because you're a batter walking across the mound. Yeah, you're gonna get beaned the next time that you come across there. There's no rule against it. You just don't do it. And this whole thing of like I can't even imagine like.
You're also supposed to show up when the other guy takes the office from you. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, no, there's a certain like quiet dignity to
right.
To that. Yeah, you're. I know that's the kind of like bitch made thing that I would do. Like, oh, I'm not going. I didn't win. I'm not going. I didn't want to win anyway.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to be president anymore.
Do everything I wanted to do the last 4 years.
Yeah. Well, and I mean that's one other thing is regardless of which of these two guys gets elected, we're time limited out here 4 years. So
Which is fine.
that's fine.
Which is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard other people like are terrified. Oh, Donald Trump's gonna repeal. He's like, no, he's not. He's like the states won't even put him on the ballot. So because unlike this insurrection / riot thing or whatever,
Yeah.
it's pretty clear that he's been elected twice. So nobody can dispute that. Now, I guarantee you he'll be in office 5 minutes if he wins this fall and say, I should have a third term, but, so because I got robbed out of my real second.
That's not how this works.
I know that's not, but he's going to say it, man. I put money on that. And then, the fucking New York Times and the laptop class are gonna freak the fuck out for a weekend.
I imagine that yes, it will come across. It will be a joke, but people will say like he means it.
It will be a joke though. He's just trolling him.
Yeah, he's gonna jump in there and say like, that'll be his joke.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's weird about him is half the shit that comes out of his mouth he's serious about, and the other half is just a joke.
That's the point.
So yeah, it is the point.
And I think he knows that.
Yeah, oh, he definitely knows that. He ain't stupid. So he does stupid things. So, but he ain't stupid. So.
And I guess that's, in theory, part of the charm.
It is kind of part of the charm, but do stupid things, win stupid prizes. So,
Not wrong. I mean, that's the...
He's got a shelf full of those.
Absolutely, yeah. He's what was it? The Pete LaBar.
He's got one of those. Yeah. He definitely has a few awards of excellence.
Awards of excellence in the field of excellence.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So.
And I guess I could make the argument that that's a very humanizing trait. It's something that people can relate to. I guess I don't know. I always walk that line wondering about, in terms of candidates that I would look forward to, are they people that I actually see as emulating the things that I've done, or do I expect them to be sort of, I don't know, like perfect models of not making the same dumb decisions I did, or it's a tough line to walk for me. Is
I don't know, man. It's been a long time since you had a president who actually like inspired people.
Well, that's kind of it.
Walk
it back. Who's the last?
Obama was pretty good at it for a while until people kind of sniffed him out. So, and that's the thing is like if Obama had waited about 10 years to become president, he would have been a much better president.
I agree with you.
Yeah, he was way too young. George W. Bush was way too young. So, Bill Clinton was just as young as the rest of them, but he actually kind of handled it a little bit better. But
I agree.
Parts of it.
That is correct. The parts of him that were mature enough to handle the job were also the parts that were mature enough to say, what can I do? I don't want to go into this. I don't want to be this crass about it. But basically, like, this isn't my first time. I know what I can get away with.
Yeah.
I know how to get away with.
Right.
And it's not the simple, stupid stuff that you and I would do, where it's like, I can take a nap at gate 5A.
Right. My boss won't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I can do that. His was different.
Yeah. His was a bit different.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I would say Herbert Walker was pretty good. So.
And we're talking about the one guy that only had one term.
Well, yeah, he got ousted because the economy crashed. So he got blamed for it. Even though he was like, I think he hit the point in time that he was the most popular president in history.
Yep.
So for like 6 months following Desert Storm, it was like a 90s approval rating, which is unheard of. And I vaguely remember some of that time. So, those would be about the only ones, man. I mean, I remember Ronald Reagan in a very different context because I was a kid. And so everybody has that kid president, so the guy, oh, that's the guy. So I don't think that's a fair candle to hold. So,
well, the problem is my opinion of Reagan was influenced by the people closest to me and what they thought of the man instead of my own perception.
My dad fucking loved that guy.
As did mine.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, so I don't think that one's fair. So,
but then again, part of that was, when I asked him about it, part of it was very direct. It's like, son, you didn't live through the 70s.
Yeah.
And I think that...
Hey, man, so there's this guy that I watched, and he was making a really good argument that we're actually going through our own version of the 70s
I've heard things similar to this. What is this? What did Dan Carlin call it? The malaise?
It is kind of the malaise, but I don't know. Dan Carlin might have made this point too. Come to think of it, I do follow him on Twitter. He doesn't really talk politics that much anymore because he gets shouted down by fucking assholes. So,
really?
Yeah, because he's like, oh, you're both sides guy, Dan. Blah blah blah.
Oh,
and he's like, fuck
you.
Off. Yeah,
oh my god. Exactly. I was gonna say, how dare you talk to Dan Carlin?
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like, where do you think you are? Put your coat on.
And you're asking me like if I would like fucking go kick somebody's ass for Dan Carlin. It's like, dude, just tell me where to go, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let him talk to you like this. In fact, you let him talk to you. I'll straighten him out.
Yeah,
fine.
We got you covered. So
talking shit to Dan Carlin. What's wrong with you?
So he's doing live shows now, man. I've got to watch and see if he actually comes to Denver. I'd probably just go pay money to go see him. So,
I'll go pay money to see him.
Yeah, I'll watch for it. So.
But anyway, yeah.
So it's the whole idea that, like 1968 was basically our 2020. So, it was just this fucked up year where all kinds of weird shit happened.
Yeah.
So, and then, you had political factions that were tearing the country apart. There were riots everywhere. You had Kent State. You had all kinds of this shit going on. RFK and MLK both got shot. So in that year, so you had Tet Offensive, you had, like, just everything that could go wrong was going wrong.
Right.
And the guy in charge, of course, was Richard Nixon. So after the end of the election, so because it was also an election year, so the parallels are kind of fun in that case because
that is interesting.
The parallels are kind of fun in that one. But what happened was so all throughout the Nixonian period, okay, so you had.
Yeah.
This is where the left kind of came off the rails. So, because it went from hippies to weathermen. Eventually, yeah. So, right?
Yeah.
And by the time Jerry Ford rolls around, everybody's just fucking sick of it. So they're like, get him out of office. And then, people try and stab Jerry Ford. And everybody's like, fuck that. Who cares? So, And then all the bombings just stop. And then all the shouting kind of stops. The hippies, get jobs.
Right.
Yeah, and so the whole thing peters out. And then you have Carter, who everybody universally recognizes a wimp. So at that time, and so it just gave everybody kind of a breather. So I've seen some people say, yeah, I think 2024 and after this election, we're going to get our breather. So on a lot of this shit. So.
I could see that.
Well, this guy, the guy that was making this argument was pointing out, he's like, all the crazies have gone to foreign policy now. So, notice that they're not arguing for defund the police like they were 3 years ago. It's all Gaza now. So he says, yeah, they're not coming back. Nobody's going to come back and say, oh, that defund the police thing? Let's talk about that again. Yeah, that's back at the top of the agenda. Right. Nobody's going to pay attention to them. So they've already spent all their gas on that stuff.
Well, nobody wants to be the person now that is on record saying that what we need is more deployable social workers.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that brainchild was yours, huh?
Yeah, great.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, we need more rent control. So, yeah. Nobody's going to come back and make those arguments. So then the same thing with, so the far right is not what this guy was making a point that the far right is not what it was about 6 years ago.
Not even close.
It's 6 years ago, you could clearly identify elements of and I mean not even the Proud Boys, but your Christian nationalists, guys like that. He's like, they've all taken to the woodwork too. So at this point in time, he's like, January 6th got a lot of those guys smoked out. And then on top of that, they won the COVID argument. So they went away. So, and then, and then the whole thing with Gaza, it's like, there's like, you're identifying your true anti-Semites out there now, and surprisingly, they're not where we thought they were.
They're not on the right.
They're not on the right. So,
No.
yeah, exactly. Well, some of them are. I mean,
look, all right, but those guys were there before.
Exactly. So that's the goalpost, man.
But when you're asking these people to say, like, sit down and say, like, well, who do you dislike more, Israel or the entire rest of the Middle East? Is like, the Middle East.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who do you dislike more? It's like, look, man, forget about it.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah, but like a lot of your traditional right guys that were pretty far out there. I mean, you still have the nuts on GunTube and things like that, but that's different.
That's
so. But
its own lame cottage industry.
But still, at the same point in time, you don't have like the whole prepper culture that was going on, and people making
right
fucking militias and stuff like that, and preparing to take over. Those guys all got ousted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they all got busted up. You say, wait a minute, half the people in here are in the FBI. Fuck this. So and so you talk about I don't know, people get mad about that, but okay, if you did see those as domestic terrorists, they did a pretty good job of breaking them up.
I give you that. Mission accomplished. But look, I also think I'm part of that too. Is like, I think sovereign citizenship is at an all-time low.
It might still be out there, but it's not like. So the whole thing, so some people pointed out that this was actually coming from, like, you remember back to, like, 2012 and the Tea Party days. So, it was completely different in terms of the weight back then than it is 10 years later. Yes. And so that's because they won some arguments, they lost some other ones, and they all went home. So
they all went home, or they just folded into the... Yeah, it was like an Egyptian shuffle. You just...
Yeah. So, yeah. Or they got jobs. So, I mean,
there's that.
Fucking meaningful work actually chills you out quite a bit. So,
it's it's a very unique form of therapy.
It's a bomb. Yeah. It is a bomb.
Yeah.
So, it's like, wait a minute, I can actually envision, buying a house now. Yeah, maybe I'll get off Twitter and do some overtime.
Well, look, I've made this point before. I'm going to make it now. Again, this was the same point that I was making with the Russian girl was she's like she was comparing American politics to Russian politics.
They're not even close.
And she was like how it was basically trying to sort the din from, or basically escape that from how people actually feel. And I'm like, look, I'm going to break it down to you. It's like, when election season comes down, half the people are still not going to vote.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, that's generally the sign of the health of your country, is if people feel good enough that the choices in office won't impact their daily life. They feel comfortable enough in their country that the choices in office aren't enough to get them to the poll, right? You're probably in a good place.
See, and that's hilarious because the last two elections have been the highest turnout elections per capita.
The last one was...
that was the highest.
That was the COVID one.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just in terms of like the percentage of people who actually voted,
right?
They were the high. Well, so 2020 wasn't that much higher than 2016 in terms of percentage, but they were both like, I mean, like George W. Bush years was like 50%. Yeah, these are closer to 65. So, the last couple times. So, we'll see what turnout is this fall. People might just chill the fuck out and say, whatever, we only get one of these assholes for 4 more years. So, and, doesn't really matter.
We know who both of these guys are.
That is weird. So, in electoral fucking bracketology. Well, I've never seen one like this, buddy.
I don't think we ever will again. I mean,
I don't think so either.
It's that weird thing where you can say, like, well, it's not a hypothetical, well, if you were president, I can look back and say, when you were president. And I can take a look at the other guy and say, when you were president.
Both these guys have stats on the back of their baseball cards.
That is correct. That is correct. And the Brewers can only sign one of them for 4 more years.
That's right, yeah.
The other one has to go back down to the minors.
Yeah. So, or to the farm.
I don't know.
It's fucking political hospice, man. So
you're correct.
So
yeah, one of you guys is going to be fucking signing autographs for a very short line in Albuquerque. Yeah. Fuck them both. All right.
I'm not that worried about it. I was maybe a little bit more stressed out about it, maybe like last summer, but I'm not that worried about it now.
It's not a question of stress. It's a my stressors don't necessarily have as much to do with the person in office as much as the office itself. My concerns, of course, as that guy are, of course, like, man, there are certain rights and certain powers that have been afforded that need to be curtailed. We've a little bit too much of this.
Yeah.
And it's problematic no matter who the president is.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I still don't think it's fundamentally busted. So,
not where I would say it's beyond salvage.
No, well, not to the point in time where it'll actually force reform. We'll put it that way. So,
well, remember when this was, Carlin's argument for, I think it was for Romney.
Might have been
where he was saying that, arguing on the behalf of accelerationism.
I don't think Romney was actually talking about acceleration. I think he was actually talking about like reducing some of the powers of the presidency.
But he was saying that was the better chance between the two of them
between Romney and Obama,
of creating accelerationism that would prompt change.
Yeah, I don't buy that argument anymore, though, man. I mean, if we didn't get any acceleration out of a Trump administration, it's not.
Which is weird, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like the powers of the presidency, it does kind of depend on who's actually wielding them in some respects. But look at all the things that the Democrats are trying to do in order to get this dude, and they ain't gonna get him. So because all the stuff they're bringing is weak sauce. So
I mean, they've got some tricky things going on, and
they do,
and this.
But nobody's going to let them play like fucking 3-card Monty on them here. So, I mean, everybody's watching. So, I mean, this isn't the thing where it's like the cup and the ball and, oh, where'd it go? Everybody's watching.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching.
Actually, yeah, that's true. More direct eyes are on it than ever before.
Right, yeah. So, I'm sorry. There's so many people on shenanigan watch right now. I'm not too worried about it. So...
there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like nobody was watching Richard Nixon.
No, you're right. As a matter of fact, it's sort of like in hindsight, it is healthier because instead of having 500 people watching this trick and saying like, okay, well the ball went in your pocket, you basically back in the day where it's like Tom Brokaw is like, I was there. The ball was definitely under the cup.
Yeah. Walter Cronkite says, you're totally right, Tom.
Fucking ass kisser.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. That's goddamn like Pat Summerall of news.
Oh, he was great. Shut up.
Fucking toady. He never once told John Madden to go fuck himself. It was just like, no, you're wrong.
Well, he told LBJ he was going to lose the fucking war, so that did happen.
I was talking about Pat Summerall.
Oh, Pat Summerall. Yeah, you're right. Totally off base on that one, John. So, I don't know what game you're watching, John.
I understand you did a little bit of coaching.
Yeah.
But
but who's in the booth now, John?
Right.
All right, that was
uncalled for. Batman.
Yeah. I'm Pat.
Yeah, I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Yeah.